If I want to become a better storyteller in 2026, I will keep it very simple. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 things that you can do that will allow you to enhance your storytelling skills. What's up, it's Gene. This is inGENEious Storyteller. Now, before I give you these 3 things, I want to give you a little bit about my background. You see, I'm a 9-time author. I'm a professional speaker. And I started my professional speaking journey back in 2012. Now, what has allowed me to write all these books, what allowed me to become a speaker, is focusing on developing my storytelling skills. So if you're somebody you want to become a greater communicator, I want to encourage you to enhance your storytelling skills with the 3 things I'm about to share in this video. Now, the first thing I would encourage you to do if you want to become a great storyteller is start to record the impactful events in your life. So what do I mean by impactful events? I'm talking about events that happen in your life that make you emotional. For example, when I first want to get more involved with public speaking, the only reason I want to do it is because I want to move up in corporate America. You see, the thing that was holding me back is I was not a good communicator. And one day, one of my executives said to me, Gene, if you want to rise up in this company, you have to work on your communication skills. And I want to encourage you to join this speech club. Now, when my executive told me about a speech club, I got afraid because probably like you fear public speaking so much, just the thought of standing in front of people give you anxiety. And that's how I felt. And because of that fear, for 6 months, I procrastinated on joining that speech club. But then I realized that I was not going to move up in the corporation if I did not work on my communication skills. So I made up my mind on a particular Saturday that I would join that speech club because I knew the only way for me to overcome my public speaking fear is through action. So that Saturday came, right? And I jumped in my car and I'm driving to the speech club and I'm so nervous and I'm telling myself that I should just turn the car around and don't even worry about moving up in corporate America because I don't want to get up there and embarrass myself. But I get to the building where the speech club is, and this is this old library. I get out my car and I walk through the front door. I ask the receptionist where the speech club is. She points to the back of the library. I start walking back there and I'm looking and I see the speech club. I see the sign and it's this gigantic glass that allows you to look right inside the club itself. So I'm standing behind like this bookshelf, right? And I'm looking inside this speech club and there's a guy there giving the speech and there's about 10 other people in there. And I'm hoping nobody see me and I have my hoodie over my head. But then one of the members inside the club, he locks eyes with me. He gets out of his seat. He opens the door, he walks out, he said, hey, yo, man, do you want to come in here and join our speech club? You want to come join us? And I said, yes. Now, I'm walking inside of here, right? And my heart is pounding because I'm afraid they're going to ask me to give a speech. They're going to ask me to stand up in front of people. So I sit down and I still have my hoodie on my head. And that guy's up there giving that speech with confidence. And I'm so admired by that. I'm saying to myself, wow, I wish I could speak like that. And right after him, another person gave a speech. And the more these individuals spoke, the more afraid I became because I knew I did not have those skills. So when the last person got through speaking, the guy that brought me inside the club, he said, hey, yo, man, won't you stand up right where you are and tell us who you are and why you came today? So I nervously stand up. I pull off my hoodie and I'm looking at the floor. And I finally look up a little bit and I say, well, I'm Gene Mosley and I'm here because I want to become a better public speaker and I want to do better at the company I'm at. And they told me I need to work on my communication skills. And then they all started clapping. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, when they started clapping as I was standing up telling them this, I felt this boost of confidence inside of me because I knew at that moment I had overcome my fear of public speaking with action. Now, that is just an example of how you can take a impactful event from your life, something that makes you emotional, something that makes you sad, something that makes you feel confident. Because when you can take these events from your life, they are the type of events that become stories that will allow you to connect with the audience because you're able to tell them with emotion. Now, the second thing I would like to encourage you to do that's going to allow you to become a better storyteller is take that impactful event, which is now your story, and tell it in casual conversations with family members, friends, or strangers. You see, what that allow you to do is that the more you tell that story, the more you'll be comfortable with it. And you will do what's called internalizing the story. Now, internalizing the story is when you tell a story so much, it becomes part of who you are. Opposed to memorizing the story is which will be you writing the story out, reading line from line, telling like a robot. No, the best way for you to become a better storyteller is to start to internalize that story by telling it through casual conversations. You see, the story that really allowed me to write my first book, Overcoming Your Empty Closet, is what I call my empty closet moment story. Now, this story is only about my daddy leaving when I was 11 years old. And the way I really worked on this story and got to become good enough so I could tell it on the stage in front of thousands of people, I did exactly what I'm asking you to do. I told the story in casual conversations. Now, I remember the first guy I told it to, he was a guy in the speech club, and we went out to eat one day, and I was like, wow, I never really talked about the way my daddy left. So this is how I told the story. I said, hey man, he asked me, do you know your daddy? I said, yeah, I know my daddy. See, my daddy, when I was in elementary school, me and my sister got home from elementary school, and we got off the bus, we ran in the house, and when we got in there, our mom was crying, and my mama asked me to go in the room and ask my dad if he's going to leave us. And I didn't know why she was asking me to ask this question. So I went into the room and I say, hey, daddy, mama said you're going to leave us. He said, oh, no, son, I'm not going to leave. I'm going to put us in a better home outside this bad neighborhood. So I went back in there. I said, mama, daddy said he's not going to leave. And she turned around and she didn't say a word, right? So I was like, okay, well, I don't know what's going on, but I could tell by the way she was acting that something was strange. So I, didn't think nothing about it, but over the next 2 weeks, I didn't see my daddy nowhere around the house. So I went in there and I said, hey, mom, where's my daddy? She turned around and cried. She said, Junior, your daddy gone. He left us 2 weeks ago. Now, I did not believe her, so I went to the one place that would solidify my belief. And I ran down the hallway as fast as I can. I turned left. I ran to my parents' room. I pushed open my dad's closet door, and it was totally empty. Now, that is my empty closet moment story. That is how I started telling it when I was having my casual conversations. Now, just to show you how I enhanced this story, I'm going to show you a video of me telling my empty closet story in front of an audience so you can see how it went from a casual conversation to an internalized story. So what do I mean by empty closet moment? Well, let me explain. When I was 11 years old, my little sister and I just got home from elementary school. We walked inside the house, and to our surprise, our mama was standing in the living room wearing her white nightgown. She was crying. So I walked up to my mom and said, what's wrong, mama? She said, Junior, go in the room and ask your dad if he's going to leave us. I said, mama, where you going? She said, Junior, just go ask. Now, my mama said my dad's going to leave. I thought she meant he was taking a trip to another country because he works on the railroad. So I walked to the room. My dad was standing up watching television. I said, Daddy, mama said you're going to leave. Is that true? He said, oh, no, son, I'm never going to leave y'all. I'm going to get us out this bad neighborhood. So I ran back into the room and I said, Mama, Daddy says he's not going to leave us. Now, you ever told somebody some good news and you can tell by the look on that person's face, he or she thinks you're lying, they truly not believing you? So that's how my mom was staring at me. She turned around, she walked off. She didn't say a word. So over the next 2 weeks, I didn't smell the oil, the gasoline smell from my daddy's uniform around the house. So I walked into the kitchen and I asked my mom the obvious question. I said, Mama, where's my daddy? She said, Junior, your daddy gone. He left us 2 weeks ago. Now, I did not believe this. I could not believe my own daddy, my own flesh and blood, would leave 2 weeks after he promised me personally he would not leave. So I go to the one place that would solidify my belief. I run down the hallway as fast as I can. I turn left. I step inside my parents' room. I push open my daddy's closet door. My daddy's closet was empty. And at that moment, nothing but anger filled my heart. Because I felt my daddy left because he didn't see any value in me as his son. And because I believed this, I stopped seeing value in my own life. You see, the empty closet is a metaphor that represents that moment in our lives that we felt we wasn't good enough. Now you can see why it's very important that you practice telling your story in casual conversations so you can enhance your storytelling skills. And number 3, I want to encourage you to hire a storytelling coach. You see, when I first started my journey back in 2012, working on my public speaking skills, I knew that I had a hard time telling stories. So I reached out to a guy who was a professional speaker, who was a magnificent storyteller that one of my friends told me about. And I hired this individual, and I'm going to tell you the beauty about it. He helped me to become an authentic storyteller. You see, I thought I was doing very well in my speech clubs, and I thought I was getting a lot better. But one day he pointed something out to me. He said, Gene, when you're on that stage, you're not yourself. You're somebody else. That is not you. I said, what do you mean? It is me. He said, no, it's not you. I talk to you every day. And the way you are presenting on that stage, that speech club, is not the person I talk to. So he was the first person that really helped me to start learning not to memorize my stories, which I started doing that speech club, and start to internalize my stories. And what he did is have me to go up in front of the audiences and tell my stories without any notes, without anything that can aid me. And because I worked with him and learned not just how to the different elements of storytelling, but how to actually present it in an authentic way, that's what allowed me to develop my storytelling skills and become a professional speaker. So in 2026, if you want to enhance your communication skills, it's going to start with developing those storytelling skills that's going to help you to become a great storyteller. So I want to encourage you to take the 3 things I shared in this video and start to apply them to their life so you can become an inGENEious storyteller.